Good morning, afternoon, or evening, y'all. My name is Shannon, and today is the 7th day of Vlogmas, I believe. So welcome back. Today, I'm actually refilming a video I filmed a month ago, but I rambled on and on and on in that video, so I'm hoping to get it a little bit shorter. Anywho, today we're going to be talking about the 23 things I have learned in my 23 years of life. My birthday is November 16th. I turned 23 last month, and I thought this would be a really good idea because, I mean, I've learned quite a few things in my time, and granted, I'm not like old or sage and wise, but I do think I have a little bit of wisdom I can share with y'all. Anywho, also, I just want to say this disclaimer. These are things I personally have learned. If you disagree with what I'm saying, that's completely all right. This is just my belief. The first one, we're jumping out on a controversial one already, is blood is not thicker than water. I fervently believe that if there is someone who you're related to that is genuinely toxic and causing you discomfort and you don't like being around them, if you wouldn't be around them if they weren't your relative, you shouldn't be around them. I've had family members in my life where I haven't spoken to them in years because they are not a good person to have in my life. And the cop-out excuse that family is family, I hate that as well. Because my family wouldn't treat me the way you're treating me. You know? Okay, next one. Sometimes it is that deep. You hear all the time in our society, in life in general, that it's not that deep. And sometimes it is. I'd say like 95% of the time, that's true. It is not that deep, but there are definitely times when it is that deep, and people, yourself included, should stop trying to minimize your experience. The next one is something that I have struggled with for years. I still tend to struggle with this, but it's just the way of the world. Not everyone is gonna like you. There are just some people in life that aren't gonna like you, and that's fine. Not everyone has to like you. You don't like everyone. Sometimes people just don't mesh, and you desperately wanting this person to like you, it's not gonna make them like you. You're just not that person's cup of tea, and that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. And I really struggled with this, and I still kind of do, just because I really, really do not like being disliked. But I don't like so many people in this world, so it's unrealistic of me to expect everyone to like me. Next one. Nothing in life is linear. Anything. Literally anything in life is not linear. Losing weight is not a linear process. Growth is not a linear process. Getting into a new hobby is not a linear process. Literally nothing in life is linear. And for you to expect it to be is so unrealistic, because the twists and turns that life has, they're so unexpected and they're going to mess up your plans. And you just need to roll with that. Because again, nothing in life is linear. Next one. No one is responsible for your happiness but you. This one honestly kind of slapped me in the face one day, because there was some stuff going on and it was someone else's fault at first. Like, they made me unhappy, but if I choose to stay unhappy and just continuously blame the person that began this, that is then my fault. No one is responsible for you but you, ultimately. And if you rely on someone else or put the burden of making you happy on someone else, it is an incredibly impossible expectation, And that's putting way too much pressure on someone else when ultimately it is your responsibility. Next one. This is gonna sound harsh, like really harsh. And it's that nobody cares that much about you. Now, just hang in there for a second. What I mean by this is humans have egos. Every human does. If someone says they don't, they're lying. Everyone has an ego. And it's definitely more in swing when you're younger, I feel like, because I definitely felt like this so much more when I was in like middle school, high school age. But I consistently felt like I needed to be perfect because I felt like everyone was looking at me, everyone was analyzing every micro expression I had, and it, like, I felt like I was under a microscope constantly. When the reality is no one really cares that much. No one is paying that much attention to you. I'm sorry, they're just not. And that is a very freeing thing to realize because you can stop caring so much all the time because I promise you they don't. The next one. Dogs are legitimately the best things ever. My two dogs, I'm literally looking at them right now laying on our bed. They are the lights of my life. They are my best friends. I would never compare having a dog to having a child, realistically, but like, they make me so incredibly happy. I just absolutely adore them, and especially when Everett is like gone for military related stuff, I only have my dogs. I work from home. If Everett is not here, I am not speaking to another person for a long time, potentially sometimes. And they just make everything better, and it makes me so incredibly happy to see them, and the way that they care for me as well. It just makes me so happy, and I imagine this is how other pet owners feel about like their cats and stuff, but I'm allergic. So I just love them so much. And I truly believe that dogs are magical and like the best thing ever. The next two are gonna sound really stupid, but I feel like they need to be said. Working out actually makes you feel better. Shocking, I know, but you hear this being said constantly. You should work out, it'll make you feel happier. You should work out, it'll make you feel better. And when you're in a bad mindset and a bad place mentally, you honestly just want to tell those people to like off. But they're right. Working out does actually make you feel better. I'm sure I could include multiple scholarly articles on the screen to show how good working out actually is for you and your mental health. And yes, working out does help to like just be healthier, but it helps my mindset more than anything. And I feel like that's why I've really gotten into it lately. Next, journaling actually works. Like, personally, I don't like therapy. It probably has something to do with the fact that I went to a therapist right when my parents split up, but I don't like therapy. I already know the problems within myself, so why would I go to someone else to tell me the problems and maybe prescribe me medication when I don't want to take medication? Anyhow, so I just journal. I will journal to vent. I will journal just to talk about my day. And if I am upset about something or I'm keeping something in, basically, like how I'm feeling, if I'm in like a depressed mindset, it makes me feel so much better to write about it and write it out because it feels like I'm venting to someone, but it's not someone, it's just a journal. And I feel like when I'm older as well, I'm really gonna like to look back on my journal and see what I was like, because obviously I'm not gonna be the same person now that I am in, like, hopefully I'm still alive in 70 years, but I think journaling just is magical, and I think journaling just is fantastic, and it really, really does work. Next one, perspective is everything. So I'm going to tell a story. A couple days ago, our fridge was packed to the gills. There was not a single cubic inch of space. It was stressing me out so much. And I said something about it to Everett, and he was like, maybe you should like take a step back and realize how grateful we are to be able to have a fridge this full. And it instantly shifted my perspective, and I really do think that perspective is everything, because I will be complaining about something in my head, like to myself, and then I'll like stop myself and I'll take a step back and realize how grateful I am to be doing whatever I'm doing. And it really helps. Just like perspective is genuinely everything. And then the next one is being alone / independent is not always a good thing. So what I mean by this is there will be times when Everett will be away for extended periods of time due to military stuff, and I become hyper independent to the point that it would almost be, I don't want to say bad, but like it would bother me if someone came in and tried to help me, because I would rather just do it myself. And that's not really a good mindset. It's okay to lean on people sometimes and have people help you with stuff. And it's really hard to do because I'm an introvert as it is, but ultimately it is better if you just let them in and let them help you because they want to, you know? The next one, he's just not that into you, applies to everything in life. So what I mean by this is, first off, that's an incredible movie, and if you haven't watched it, I recommend you watch it. Second, the phrase, he's just not that into you, or the more modern variation of it, if he wanted to, he would, applies to everything, not just romantic relationships. If they wanted to hang out with you, they'd reach out to you. If this family member cares about you, they will reach out to you. If he wanted to, he would, is true. If I want to talk to someone, I will. Like, it's endless what it applies to. And once you start to pick up on this, you really notice who matters in your life and who you can rely on. The next one, I don't think I've really discussed it on this channel too heavily, but I love children movies. Some of my favorite movies ever are typically marketed as children's movies. Like Inside Out, Soul, Incredibles, like those are some of my comfort movies. Oh, Ratatouille. Ratatouille's a big one. Fantastic Mr. Fox. And just, anywho, that being said, I feel very strongly about the fact that Pixar and DreamWorks movies are better than Disney's. Hold on a minute. Before you come for my throat, let me explain myself. So, while there are some incredible Disney movies that I absolutely adore, per capita, Pixar and DreamWorks make better movies. What I mean by that is, with the amount of movies Disney has put out, if we took all of those movies and meshed all of the ratings together, Pixar and DreamWorks would be higher than Disney's. And maybe it's just personal preference, but I really do believe that they're better movies. Anywho, the next one is related in kind of a media sort of way. Books, I truly believe, are magical. Like, they are essentially Narnia to me, and just the way that they can transport you to an entirely different place, culture, world is so special and magical to me, especially as a child who needed escapism. I absolutely adore how books make me feel, and along with that, if you have an inner monologue constantly, you'll know what I mean when I say that when I read, it's quiet. When I am reading, I am just reading the words on the page. I don't have any other thoughts in my head, and it's wonderful. It's so quiet, and I absolutely love that feeling. The next one is about Christmas, actually, and it's that the magic of Christmas is entirely from your parents. So when I moved out, I remember thinking that Christmas just didn't feel like Christmas. And I felt like this for a couple of years until I finally, it dawned on me that the fact that the Christmas magic in my household was entirely because of my mother. She made us feel the Christmas and the specialness of the holiday, and she really gave that to us at a time when we needed it. And Christmas was just so special to me in that house, and it was my entire, like, it was my favorite time of year. And it was entirely because of my mother, and I definitely didn't appreciate that until after I was gone. Okay, the next one is that processed food is killing us. Again, I could list scholarly articles that show us that processed food is quite literally horrible for us. There are so many ingredients in processed foods that lead to ADHD, cardiovascular disease, autoimmune deficiencies, hormonal problems, like so many diseases and issues with our health can be traced back to the food we eat. It is insane how unhealthy some of the things we are putting in our bodies are. And I have recently become way more cognizant of this in like the past year or so, and I'm really trying to eat like whole foods for the most part, because it is mind-boggling how unhealthy some of the things we are eating are. The next one goes along with this, being that social media is not good for us, like at all. And when I say social media, YouTube and Pinterest do not count. Social media has evolved into something in, I think especially in the COVID era onwards, that I don't think anyone saw coming. Social media is such an incredibly toxic place, and for us to regularly be like mindlessly scrolling on it is insane. And I have evidence from my younger sibling that brain rot is literally real. There are people in Aaron's grade that cannot read properly. For reference, Aaron is in 9th grade, and there are people that cannot read in that grade at that school. And I would have to say that social media and screen time and all of that can be traced back to. It's just insane, and screens themselves are not good for us in significant exposure time. And it's just so weird how our culture has normalized this stuff so much. Along with that, like, social media is just so bad for us, and the amount of people we can see and the lives we can see and compare ourselves to, that's not good for our mental health either. It's just so horrible for us. So I've really been trying to cut down my time on actual social media sites. The next one is hobbies are so important. Like, so important. And if you don't have them, it's probably really telling in your life. Like, years ago, I didn't really have a whole lot of hobbies. I wasn't a big reader. I didn't get into painting yet. Didn't really get into knitting yet, or cooking or baking. And I was consistently bored scrolling on like social media, watching stuff on Netflix, waiting for my now husband to be done playing video games. And once I got hobbies, that stopped. Like, you need to have things that make you happy, and you need to have things that make you a whole individual person. Because if you're just waiting for someone else, you are a side character in their life, and you don't have a life of your own. This may sound super, super harsh, but that's truly how I feel about it. You cannot buy happiness, though we really, really like to try. It has been scientifically proven that when you buy something, you get a rush of, I believe, dopamine, which is like a happy hormone, basically. And so when you continuously buy stuff, it sends like a rush to your brain saying that this is what's making you happy. It does not make you happy. This is why people get buyer's remorse. And ultimately, there is no like tangible object that can really bring someone joy and real happiness. I mean, my house makes me happy. Like, I'm happy that I get to live under a roof and have a roof over my head, and like I'm happy for the food on my plate, but that's not the kind of happiness that I am talking about that people want. You know, do you get what I mean? The next one is dress in a way that makes you happy. I've been told so many times that I overdressed for this occasion, that people like judge me based on how I dressed to something. And it took me a while to learn that them judging me is an entire reflection on their own character. I love the way I look all the time, and if I wore the outfit out of the house, it's because I wanted to. And if it's making them uncomfortable, that is entirely their own problem and has nothing to do with you. This one kind of goes along in the same way, and it's that you are never too much for someone. Again, I have been told this multiple times before, and so has my mom and like people I know. So I have been told that I'm being too much, I'm being too extra, that I'm doing too much, I'm too loud, I'm too something for them. And this was actually fairly recently that this mindset shifted for me, because I saw someone say it and it like blew my mind. You are never too much for someone, ever. They are simply not enough for you. And that just completely changed my perspective on it, and I love it so much. Because why are you making me feel bad about the way I am? I mean, why would you say that to someone? Maybe you're simply just not enough for me. And I absolutely love that mindset shift. The next one is, okay, the last two are very much related, and it's that nothing grows in your comfort zone, and fear isn't always a bad thing. Let's talk about the first one. So, nothing grows in your comfort zone. This is something that one of my favorite YouTubers ever constantly says, and it's so true. Nothing grows in your comfort zone. Your comfort zone is such an incredibly amazing, wonderful place, but if you do not step out of there, you are never going to grow and be the person you were meant to be. And along with that, fear really isn't always a bad thing. Sometimes fear is a gut feeling inside yourself that what you are about to do is big and it matters, and you're scared that the outcome may be potentially bad. But what if it isn't? And your fear response, this is a completely different way I'm going with this, but your fear response could also be something telling you that something about the situation you are in is wrong and you need to get out of it. And that can ultimately save your life in certain circumstances. But when we are doing a new like shift in our life, it tends to feel scary because it's big and it matters. Like, if people discounted their fear and recognized it for what it was, which is sometimes anticipation and excitement and just worrying about what can go wrong, I feel like we would, as a society, do a lot more. But yeah, those are the 23 things I learned so far in my 23 years of life. I mean, I have learned a whole bunch more, and I could honestly go on and on for probably hours, but I'm not going to chat your guys' ear off. Thank you so much if you stayed till the end of this video. I sincerely hope you guys are having an absolutely wonderful morning, afternoon, or evening wherever you are in the world, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye!